Stories for joggers, insomniacs, and travellers between stops. This story is really for adults. Secured sexual syndrome. It could only happen with Henry because Henry was her husband and Victoria was his faithful wife. And it happened actually just after their Saturday night bounce. Sometimes they bounce between the sheets, sometimes on top of the bed, sometimes on the floor, on the kitchen table, in the dining room. In fact, there were very few places in the flat where they had not bounced, and always on a Saturday night. You must realize when the event happened, it was dramatic, even shattering. Henry had rolled off his panting wife, who was Saturday night satisfied. To his surprise, his roll was continued by Victoria, finishing on top, still panting. This was unusual. It had been quite a long, fulfilling bounce, but Victoria wanted more, so he obliged. This time it was her roll-off that was followed by Henry smiling tightly down on her. "I can't," she gasped. "Not again." "Nor I," said Henry. With a deep breath, he rolled sideways, swinging Victoria on top. "I thought we were finished," Victoria blinked. "So did I," stuttered Henry. "But you're still in," she said. They both looked down, but there was nothing to see except two stomachs tightly pressed together. "I can't get out." Henry's moan was laced with panic. The paramedics were still giggling as they wheeled Henry and Victoria in. It had been tough loading Henry and Victoria onto the same stretcher, especially as both the paramedics were weak with laughter. The news of their entry and problem bemused and amused the staff in emergency. The young doctor had been trained for disabilities, breakages, and sickness, not stuck bouncers. Okay, he had the biggest pair of forceps in the NHS, but as he walked around the couple, inspecting them from every angle, he could find no anchorage point, nothing to grab, nothing to yank on. The senior doctor joined his walk, and then a nurse, and then a surgeon. "This isn't a medical condition," asserted the surgeon. "It's psychological." It was the surgeon's well-beaten excuse when faced with a problem without an ending. "Can't you think shrink?" the psychiatrist asked Henry. Henry explained he had shrunk so much he had almost disappeared. The psychiatrist pondered. It's your father's fault, Virginia," he decided. Virginia, during the cross-questioning, had revealed the family drama. "You are frightened Henry will leave you, so you are holding on to him." Virginia paled. "When will I let go?" she asked. The psychiatrist dodged the question by asking another. "Can we have an anaesthetist?" he barked. The anaesthetic was inserted as near the entry point as the giggling anaesthetist could get. Silence gripped the circle of fascinated medics as the drug wormed its way into the locked passion pouch. Two burly hospital porters, each with an arm around a patient's waist, waited for the sign from the anaesthetist. Two energetic heaves and pulls, and a husband and wife were parted. Henry didn't exactly exit with a pop, more of a bruised slither. Everyone shook hands except with Henry and retired to the office to drink a glass of congratulatory NHS wine. Henry looked at Victoria, and Victoria looked at Henry. They were sharing the same terror, and they were not in the slightest bit interested when the doctor told them they had created a new medical term, sexually secure syndrome. They were far more concerned what was going to happen next Saturday.